couple of people from the block came into the barbershop and were like, yo, Quint, Seed killed himself, jumped in front of the Long Island Railroad train. I was a barber, local barber in the area of where I come from, 191, shout out to 191st, the worst, Woodhall, out in Hollis, Queens, where I grew up in New York. And one of the things that helped me to avoid some of the traps that, you know, my neighborhood offered was I learned a trade. I learned how to cut hair. A young lady by the name of Laura helped me to learn how to cut hair, along with Jeff and his dad, Julius. And I just started cutting hair out of my mom's apartment, where I also used to cut Ja Rule's hair. And I think one of the guys that owned Under Armour, and then into a barbershop. I owned a barbershop for a little while. I started cutting hair, and thank God to people like Bruce Walton, few others that encouraged me along the way. As I began to get more and more popular in cutting hair, I then ran into Chiba. There's another video that I did about weed. You can check out that other video to get more information about that. But I'm about to tell you about a young man whose hair I cut. He made a very, very unfortunate decision after I cut his hair, which, you know, kind of blew my mind. And I was just thinking about it the other day. Made a permanent decision in a temporary situation. But before I do that, I'm just gonna ask that you guys would subscribe and like this video if it's a blessing to you. You know, pass it on if you find anyone else that you have come into contact with, or it's in your family, or whoever's a friend. Share this video with them. You know, I've done a few more videos like this along these lines, and the comments were mind-blowing. I just thank God, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, for these videos being able to carry somebody along the way. So I was, like I said, I was a local barber. You know, the buzz began to get out that, yo, this kid's cutting hair for like $6, $7, $8. This is like the early 90s, I think. I would have like 6, 7 guys on mom's couch and some in the hallway blowing it down before they came in to get their hair cut. But everybody was very respectful to my mom, me, and it was a great experience. Always loved the hood over there in Woodhall, always in my heart. But then I moved up a little bit and they hired me at the barbershop on the corner, and it was called A&D. I began to cut more people's hair. My customer base grew. People that I didn't know was walking into the barbershop and maybe had heard about me. And it was a kid that came in, very tall, light skinned. I'm not going to say his name because it's a very sensitive thing. He's always very quiet. You know, he never said much to me, but I knew his brothers, you know, even though we never really kicked it that much, he was a very, very cool dude, respectable. He'd come and get his hair cut, just like another day. But something was different this day that he came to get his hair cut. I heard a term, and it stuck in my mind and in my heart, and it's called a cultural gesture. An example of a cultural gesture is when somebody say, yo, you all right? You all right, man? And most of the time, someone would be like, yeah, you know, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm all right. You know, I'm all right. They're not. The bigger problem is that sometimes you ask if somebody's all right, we're not prepared to really be able to take the load if they were to drop all of their concerns, worries, fears, issues. Like I said, the term is called a cultural gesture, you know, and whether you mean it or not, it's just like the formal thing to do. Whether or not you're prepared to really sit with this person that you're asking about? Are you really able to handle what they may unload on you? Are you prayed up enough to be able to say, well, Dad, you know what? When I woke up this morning, God had kind of like showed me and prepared me that somebody like you was going to come and, I was going to cross your path, and you would have, I should be prepared to be able to say what he said to me about you. Are you really prepared for somebody to say, nah, I'm not all right? That's just a quick thought that, we should all keep in mind. If you ask somebody if they're all right, make sure you're prepared to, offer some type of advice, counsel, or, that's not my thing, that's yours. If that's not your thing, then, if they say, nah, I'm not, but, I guess I'll be all right. I hope I'll be all right. You should be willing to even have at least enough power in you, or the unction to, when you walk away from that person, they say, nah, you should be able to pray for that person. You should be able to say, you know what, God, I know that was the person. It was that person that you kind of wanted me to interact with for that quick few seconds and feel that person's weight. You should be able to pray for that person, because you just never know. There's not always a spiritual solution to an emotional or psychological or mental problem. A lot of people who are truly like followers of Christ or saved or into the Word, a lot of times we fail because we are offering spiritual solutions to a mental problem. There are times where you will come into contact with a person that has a mental problem and you offer prayer. Satan's attacking your mind and you need to break these strongholds. There are times where that is necessary. It's always necessary, but there's a point in a person's life sometimes where before they can even understand and be able to reason with scripture, they first need mental help. We ought to be able to offer something, at the very minimum, a prayer. You just smile at a person and tell them that, yo man, I'm praying for you, or God is with you. People have thoughts going on. We can't read people's thoughts. We can't look on the inward appearance of a person. God will cause you to interact with somebody and kind of feel that person, and he will equip you to help that person. People have thoughts, and thoughts trigger feelings, and feelings trigger behaviors. So if you could help a person in their thought process, especially if you can kind of see or feel that their thoughts are going to carry them over to a certain behavior that's going to be detrimental, at that point, you need to say, yo, you know what? I feel something happening with this person, God. So anyway, the young man, he sat in my chair and he got his hair cut, and he had this, it was like a blank look in his eye. Some people that you can see, they got things on their mind. But then there's some people that you could see and they sit in your chair and it's like, and he was kind of in that realm. Sometimes you just feel like, yo, this person doesn't even look like they feel like discussing what's on their mind and on their heart. So, you kind of like mind your business or whatever. And that's what I did. I had a line of people, and even though I was concerned, I just cut his hair. He got up, dusted him off with some powder. He gave me the money. He walked out. A little did I know that within about 20 to 30 minutes later, I was going to hear this young man walked up the block to the Long Island Railroad and jumped in front of a train, and he committed suicide immediately after I cut his hair. Like I said, I was a local popular barber on the block, and I'm cutting hair. You could see people just running past the door, running down the block, and I'm just watching them run down the block. So I'm figuring it's the regular local beef or hood fight or whatever. So I'm waiting for the tea on it or whatever. Come to find out that all of the people that were running to the scene of this tragic incident. That this kid who was right in my chair, whose hair I cut, probably with this clip. It's a classic '76. So I had this clip at that time. No lie. This was like 97. This is exactly 1997. He committed suicide shortly after this clipper touched his head. And it just bothers me because it's like I suffer with the thought of, should I have dug deeper into what I was seeing in him? I was a baby Christian at the time. I received Jesus Christ in 1996. I wasn't as keen as I am now spiritually. I was only connected to God for a year or less. So I just didn't have the tools to be able to discern. So all these people were running to the scene of his death. And then lo and behold, a couple of people from the block came into the barbershop and were like, yo, Quint, such and such killed himself. Maybe I can call him Seed. Seed killed himself. Jumped in front of the Long Island Railroad train. The thought just came to me to call him Seed because we never know if one seed of faith or knowledge or a seed of love could have been implanted into this man's mind and heart to deter him away from that, cause him to make a detour from that decision. You never know what a seed can do. A seed goes into somebody's heart and it grows. One person plants a seed, another one waters it, and then it grows, and then comes an increase of a different decision or an extra measure of faith in this person's life. I struggle and I mourn because I wonder if I had planted a seed in this man's mind or in his heart, could it have led to a better decision? The word was that it was a relationship issue. Those from Woodhull who are viewing this and know what it was, please correct me, but from what I was told, it was a relationship issue that led to it. My prayers still go out to the family. My heart goes out to the family because you never get over the loss of a loved one. I just lost my sister December 8th, 2020. If there's anyone that can tell you about the pain, that pain, it just reoccurs. It can hit you at any time. You can be going out and get ready to go to a basketball game or something like that, going to your kid's graduation, and bam, it just hits you like that. It's a crazy thing. Relationships are probably one of the top 5 reasons why people commit suicide. I did make another video about my girlfriend committed suicide. That was a little bit before that. She committed suicide because she couldn't get over the ex that she had dealt with before she met me. She had never got the proper healing. I just want this video to help somebody. God's desire is that this video will help somebody. Breakups are probably one of the most difficult things to get over. Most of us are sexually connected to this person and you've become one with that person. Sex adds another dynamic to a relationship because you literally become one soul with that person. And that connection is broken. There's a tearing of your soul that is hard to repair without the aid of God. Divorce is one of the most painful things because it's a tearing away of something that was bonded together. In that same barbershop, it was called A&D, and I spoke to this young lady who was going through it. She had a relationship. They were in the midst of a breakup, and God showed me a vision of a hand. If I were to wrap that tape around my hand and just like pull it off, not only would I feel pain, but I would see the hairs that are on my hand come off with that tape. And I expressed that to that young lady as she was telling me about the pain, the emotional pain that she was experiencing with the breakup with this guy. Because, when you break up with a person, especially if you were sexually active with that person, when you break up with that person, a part of you goes with that person. And you have to wait really for God to make you whole again, because you are broken. And I don't know what was going on in his life. I'm pretty sure people look at it now and say, he could have got somebody else. And while that may be, I understand that, but it's just not true. I mean, I've experienced that. It's not true. The best Quint's advice for you to get any immediate healing from a breakup is for you to latch on to God, and you just start to pray. And you might not feel it at once, but at least you're on the right track to a renewed life, healing, and finding joy in another place in Him, because God is the only one that can really repair it. I don't know what routes that he may have taken before he killed himself. I don't know if he did talk to somebody and it wasn't sufficient. I don't know if he tried to blow it down to numb the pain. These days we got all types of patch up things, drugs, uppers, downers, we got everything. People deal with hurt and pain and relationship issues in a lot of different ways. And unfortunately, the ways that we deal with them are just an immediate patch up. Like you want the healing immediately. If any one of you know about physical therapy, or you're into fitness like I am, you know that you tear a shoulder ligament, or you fracture something, the healing process is not immediate. You don't heal from something being broken in your body physically. If you do the proper exercise so that you can heal the proper way, then you got a better chance. So as far as the relationship realm, your emotions are just as sensitive. You don't get, a reparation that fast. It's a step-by-step, day-by-day process. First, you blame yourself, and then you blame the other person, and then you blame other people. You try to get healing and joy and fulfillment from other people in our relationship. You listen to certain types of music, that may offer some type of antidote for your pain, and nothing seems to work. In this young man's situation, it apparently led to him finding no other resource but to take his own life. I was shocked because I'm like, the kid was just here. Keep in mind, Quint's advice is that you realize and that you would look to God to really help him to prepare you for those seeds that you could water. I named him seed. Look for those seeds in your life. If you see it on somebody, be prepared to pray for that person. At least offer a smile. I learned a psychological skill is, even if somebody is, going through it, if you just smile at a person, it does wonders. It just lets them know that there's another day that we can live. God bless you guys. Check out those other 2 videos. My girlfriend committed suicide. Hope this video helps someone else. Questions and comments are always welcome. Love you guys. Like dark chocolate or red wine. See you later.